Alright guys, back for more Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So yeah, so like I was saying last time in regards to Kingdom Hearts, you would think because they were putting Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Xbox One that they would port every single game from before it to Xbox One. But no. There was no, like, it was pretty radio silent on if that shit would happen. For no fucking reason that I can see at all. So yeah, and Tetsuya Nomura, the director of the Kingdom Hearts series, said in 2 different IGN interviews that they could port those games to Xbox, but for one, they had to, I think, they had to gauge interest. Stupid. Like, they had to gauge interest on the Xbox community if there were people who wanted Kingdom Hearts to come to the console. I don't understand either. Like, you're bringing Kingdom Hearts 3 to the Xbox. Logic would stand that as a gaming company, you guys would want the Xbox One player base to have these games before your latest entry comes out, because Kingdom Hearts is a very story-centric franchise that genuinely requires you to play most, if not all, of the games in order to follow and understand what is going on in the fucking story. Like, and, like, whether or not anybody thinks that Kingdom Hearts should have come to Xbox in the first place, it's a moot point now. I didn't mean to do that. It's a moot point now because we're several years after Kingdom Hearts 3, or 3 years after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and we're 2 years after the HD collections came out on Xbox. But yeah, as far as I can tell, I don't think this had anything to do with, like, exclusivity from Sony or anything. A lot of people, like, speculate that that's the fucking reason. I don't think it is, realistically. We gotta remember, Square Enix is a company that makes decisions that make no fucking sense at times. When it comes to, like, even when it comes to, like, business decisions, they make no fucking sense at times. So anyways, basically, my assumption is that they put Osaka Team, the game that's been, or the company that's been making Kingdom Hearts games since, well, Rechain of Memories. Then they made Birth by Sleep and all that shit. And then they made Dream Drop Distance, and then they went on to make Kingdom Hearts 3. they apparently put the Osaka team in charge of porting the games to various platforms, starting with the PS3, then the PS4, and then Xbox, and then eventually PC. And I think even the Switch cloud versions. But yeah. As far as I can tell, that's what happened, because you have people like Tai Yasue, who actually provides actual answers for certain things. Because he seems like a good guy who just wants to make everybody happy, which is good. And he specifically said, I believe in an interview, unless if this was Nomura as well. Basically, from what I can figure, Square Enix, the higher-ups at Square Enix specifically put the Osaka team in charge of all the various ports that all of the Kingdom Hearts games that they ported to console. They put them in charge of wherever those things would go. Even while they're working on the next big numbered entry in the franchise. Regardless of their workload. As you guys can probably tell, this is not good. They were developing Kingdom Hearts 3 at the exact same time as they were tasked by Square Enix to do various ports of these games. What the fuck? You are a fucking lightweight, my guy. Anyways, as I take down these guys. And even though Square Enix had a division of their company, I don't know which fucking division, but Square Enix has they have like 12 or 13, I want to say, like, different teams of their company. Or with their company in Japan. They have like 13 different divisions all over Japan. And at the same time, this is the stupidest bullshit ever. At the same time that, like, they were leaving it up to Osaka team to port all the Kingdom Hearts games and everything. They were also having Osaka team like develop Kingdom Hearts 3. And so I think it was I assume it was an internal like decision at Osaka team to tell to tell the higher-ups at Square Enix, hey, we need a little bit more time before we can port these games to Xbox, because I assume Square Enix did want to port the games to Xbox. They were just telling the people that worked for them, hey, just give these vague as fuck answers. Just say, we need to gauge interest, or we need to see about something, or whatever the hell. Things that were, like, somewhat true, but were vague in regards to an actual fucking answer. You know? And were not helpful whatsoever, and just made it look like they didn't give a fuck about their potential customer base that they were trying to tap into with the Xbox. I don't... it's like... Square Enix is a company... The people in charge, they don't understand... like... how, giving simple and direct answers is much better than vague answers that don't, like, actually answer the questions. You know? Literally all they had to do was, like, hey, we don't, or say, all they had to say was, like, hey, we're putting an Osaka team in charge of porting all these games, and they're busy developing Kingdom Hearts 3, so they don't have a lot of staff to be able to do these ports that people have been asking for. And there were a lot of people asking for ports to the Xbox consoles. And so we're gonna wait until Kingdom Hearts 3 is done and out and everything, and all the content is done for it before we port these games, if it's cool with everybody. Like, I don't understand how they can't be that transparent about the shit that they do. So they leave people to speculate and argue and come up with bullshit fucking assumptions as to why they don't do certain things. But granted, that whole explanation, it would have been nice to have gotten it back in, like, the late 2010s. But it also wouldn't have completely satisfied everybody, because it's just like, in 2018, I think it was? Or was it 20... Oh, wait, it was XO19. Yeah, it was XO19, I believe, that they announced a whole bunch of, like, Xbox One ports of the various 3D Final Fantasy games. Minus the 13 series and everything. To Xbox One. Like, and everything. And then they later also announced them for Nintendo Switch and PC, for the ones that weren't on those already. I think they also... I can't remember, though. They might have announced Final Fantasy VIII Remastered at that as well, or it might have been a later time. I can't remember. But... what is it? Basically... Basically, they're people that genuinely don't think, oh, we should give a simple answer that people can accept, and we can just be honest about. It's genuinely some of the stupidest bullshit I have ever seen with a company. At least a gaming company. Like... I don't understand why they just can't say, hey, we're doing this for X reason. Take it or leave it.
Ready?
And it's like, I don't understand this bullshit at all. It's like, you guys realize that, like, a simple answer is what people want. And, like, even if people don't like it, they'll be willing to accept that they have to wait a little bit longer rather than you guys just saying nothing and having your developers give vague as fuck answers that don't satisfy anything. Like, I would have been fucking fully satisfied if in, like, 2018 or 2019 or some shit, or 2017, Square Enix were to come out and say, hey, look, guys, we're gonna port these games to Xbox after 3 comes out. We're sorry for that, but the Osaka team is in charge of that, and they're busy with 3. In fact, doing 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8 basically left them with not a lot of people to be able to do more ports at the moment. We're sorry for the inconvenience, but this is what it is. That would have been fine. It would have been stupid, but I would have been fine with it. I would have accepted it. Because it's just like, it left people, like, saying, oh, Kingdom Hearts is never going to come to Xbox outside of 3. Or, Kingdom Hearts, or Xbox doesn't deserve Kingdom Hearts, whatever the fuck that means. Come on, go! I don't fucking go. I don't know why I just stopped, but whatever. Anyways, it's just I don't understand. Like, there are people in real life as well, outside of companies and shit like that, that do that as well, where they don't understand, like, a simple measured answer or response or a more realistic take on something is more beneficial to them than anything. You know? Some people do it for manipulative purposes, but I think most people just genuinely are stupid when they do shit like that. You know? Like, a lot of people underestimate the stupidity of the human race. And it's so fucking stupid. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of the people that work at Square Enix are just people, and they make mistakes. They're capable of making mistakes and shit like that, but it's just like, you guys are in charge of a company. You really should be smarter than how you appear to be. And how you come off as. I just honestly don't understand whatsoever the, like, these stupid fucking decisions that some of these companies make. It's honestly just so weird. I don't know, Square Enix needs, like, a critical thinker on their team. Where is this guy on the fucking shit? Oh, he's at tier 7. I don't need to worry. Fuck that. But it's just like, they need a critical thinker on their team. Someone who can actually, like, be like, oh, we should, we should, like, be transparent about this, we should be vague about that, and whatever the fuck else. Because it's just like most of the time, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like Square Enix, like, understands that, like, a more transparent answer would be required and appreciated. And in some cases, necessary. I don't know. Like, Final Fantasy VII Remake. They were pretty upfront about the fact that that game, Sony paid for exclusivity, timed exclusivity, for what platforms that game can be released on at the time that it was coming out.
Let's hope.
And they specifically put a sticker on the game cases and everything that read, PS4 exclusive until, what was this? Basically a year. It was originally supposed to come out in March. It came out in April of 2020. So, April this 2021 was the date. And that was fine. Most people were like, oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Just have to wait this long to get it, or for it to be ported onto other platforms that, like, we prefer playing our games on, and we would like to get this game on. Okay. Ugh, but then there was the exclusivity shit for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Intergrade came out a few months after the exclusivity of the original version of Final Fantasy VII Remake was up. It came out in June of 2021. They had another 6-month deal for that to just be on PS5. But at least they were upfront about it, and they were like, hey, this exclusivity is just going to go on a little bit longer. That's fine. Like, if Sony's paying you guys for exclusivity of this game for just a little while longer, okay. You're accepting of Sony's bribe money, but at the very least you're being upfront about how douchey you're being about this shit. Okay. Whatever. About how money hungry you're being with this shit, too. Okay. That I can at least just be upfront with me about how scummy you're being with this shit, and I'll begrudgingly be like, okay, this is stupid, but okay. This kind of goes in line with, like, Sony getting a lot of, like, timed exclusivity for other games as well, which Microsoft does do the same thing every so often, but, like, I don't know. But anyways, yeah. It's like, it's currently a, well, actually this shit has been going on for a while in regards to, like, timed exclusivity for helping to fund games.
Artemis of the Wild Land. Mistress of animals.
Because, right, we wouldn't have a lot of the, like, earliest remakes and remasters, or just remakes, of, the various, Resident Evil games if Nintendo didn't pay for them to be made and published on the GameCube. Like, the Resident Evil 1 and 1 remake, Resident Evil 0, and I think another game. I can't remember the name of it, though. They came out on, oh yeah, and then I think they also paid for a Resident Evil 4 exclusivity as well when that was being made. Eventually they were released on PlayStation 2 and all that, but, you know, It's like, those games were initially, like, just GameCube exclusive before that exclusivity deal ran up and Capcom started porting them to various other platforms, like PlayStation and Xbox and PC. Not to say they didn't also put them on other platforms for Nintendo, because I know Resident Evil 4 specifically came out on the Wii. They ported it to the Wii, so yeah. But anyways, so shit like this has been going on for a while, but I think it's only been more recently that a lot of people have noticed and cared, because console warring is fucking stupid. At this point, it seems like Sony is the only one, or are the only ones, keeping console war and console fanboyism and shit like that going. Microsoft, well, Nintendo doesn't really compete with Microsoft or Sony. They're just available as an option, and they know they got a lot of people hooked on their franchises and everything. So as long as they keep producing a platform that people like, and it provides a service that people are okay with and can easily jive with and everything, they know they're going to make money, and they know they can continue to produce games. You know, they get other companies to port games to their systems if they can, but they know that their first-party exclusives and even like third-party exclusives that are made directly for the Switch are what's gonna drive people to the Switch, and that's fine, you know. I think it's, isn't it? Yeah, I think Nintendo are the they're the richest company in Japan. So they continue to do things right from a company standpoint, which is whatever. If you want to have problems with Nintendo and how they do various things, I get it. Like, not everything Nintendo does is really that good. I have my own problems with Nintendo as well. But yeah. Microsoft is more focused on, like, providing their own service with shit like Game Pass to draw people in. The hardware that they make for the Xbox consoles is there for people who want a console to play on rather than PC, because they know that not everybody has a PC, not everybody wants a PC, not everybody has the money to make or to get a decent gaming PC. So what they do instead is they still provide that as one option for how they do, or for where they launch their games and their products and their services and shit when it comes to gaming. Sony is the only company really still trying to compete, you know, in the traditional sense of, like, console war competing. Come on. Oh my fucking god, I don't want to fucking fight you people. want to fucking fight, you people. Christ.
Ready, yours!
We fought a good fight. Not for the last time, I'm sure.
So, yeah. Trying to think here. As I'm trying to do, like, multiple things at once. Little Egypt. Fuck. I'm trying to think here. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, like, Sony's the only company that's, like, really trying to desperately compete with that, because Sony really needs the PlayStation brand to be successful, because outside of, like, Spider-Man films and maybe the one-off film that actually does well for them, most of their other media wings of their company, I don't really think they make a lot of money. And they keep bombing in regards to, sometimes financially, but then other times, like, critically. Mainly critically. And they have this reputation in regards to being a film company as producing really bad films. And that reputation is earned, because most of their films are terrible in the modern day. Which is why they've, like, teamed up with Marvel for, like, help with Spider-Man films, with the solo films being produced for the MCU in conjunction with Disney and Marvel, and they basically let Marvel dictate what they do for directions and everything, and they just sign the paycheck and everything, and help make, like, creative decisions, like casting decisions and shit like that. In fact, we wouldn't have Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man in the MCU if it wasn't for Sony. Sony had the final say in regards to who they picked to play Peter Parker in the MCU when they were still casting back in 2015 or 2014, whenever the fuck it was, and they chose Tom Holland. And I think though that Marvel and Disney's decision, had it been up to them, would have been someone like Asa Butterfield, I think, is what I heard or read when it came to that shit. But yeah. So Sony makes some good decisions here and there. It's just that, like, creatively they're very bankrupt. And they're also trying to do stupid shit like make shitty villain origin movies, I guess, based on the Marvel characters that they have the rights to, set in an alternate universe to the MCU that no one wants or needs. So, because the weird thing is, like, from what I've heard, or what I've read, apparently back in, like, 2011, 2012, some shit like that, Sony sold the merchandising rights, I think it was, for Spider-Man back to Marvel, I think to extend the deal, so that, or to extend the, them having the film rights for Spider-Man. And when they were in production of the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. Because I think in 2012 the deal was going to expire, and they needed a little bit more time to produce the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. So what Sony needs in regards to that is they need their Spider-Man films to be a success at the box office, because they literally don't have anything else in regards to what they could do for making money off of Spider-Man in films. Where in the fuck is this shit? Oh, I thought there was another sync point. Okay. But yeah. And yeah, they just need their films to be able to make a lot of money at the box office. Which, teaming up with Marvel and Disney to produce Spider-Man movies set in the MCU, has really paid off for them. Homecoming made almost $1 billion at the box office. I think it made like 800-something million. One of the highest grossing Spider-Man movies at the time. The fact that it was a good movie also helped. Then you had Spider-Man Far From Home, which, on top of also being a mostly good movie, I have problems with it, but it's still a good movie, regardless. It was also coming off of the heels of Avengers Endgame. So it was gonna make money no matter what, and Avengers Endgame made well over $2 billion at the box office, because it was just such a gigantic fucking movie. Of course it was going to make a shit ton of money. And then, yeah, that was the first Spider-Man movie to make over $1 billion at the box office, I believe. And then,
I should try to stay out of sight.
partly with Marvel's help or I guess creatively in regards to ideas, they produced No Way Home, which made over $2 billion at the box office. Which I think they also wouldn't have had if they also didn't, renegotiate the deal with Marvel. But the thing about Sony is that they're also fucking greedy as hell. And what happened is, after the deal after the deal to share Spider-Man with Marvel and Disney in regards to the films went up in 2019, I think that they really stood a good chance to lose a lot of money and a lot of goodwill with people if they had released another solo Spider-Man movie, even if it had Tom Holland and John Watts come back, which they most likely would have. If it wasn't a Spider-Man movie set in the MCU, and if it wasn't a Spider-Man movie that could have continued the storyline that they had set up for Peter at the end of Far From Home, I think that they would have, even if it was a good movie in of itself, I think that they would have stood to lose a lot of money and a lot of support from critics and fans of Spider-Man. Because the shitty thing is, and it kind of is proven with these shitty villain origin movies that they keep making for no reason. Outside of, like, Into the Spider-Verse, like, Sony really doesn't produce great Spider-Man movies anymore. And it's because it seems like they get the wrong people to make these movies. And then they wonder why people don't like the movies. Some of the movies make money at the box office, like Venom. The Venom movies make money at the box office, mainly because, like, they get things about the character right. Like, they get people who actually understand what makes Venom tick in the comics, I think. They get that shit right for the most part. But the movie's plots and everything are just not great from what I know. I need to actually watch those movies.
To your positions!
But yeah.
Ramming speed!
Can't keep going at this speed.
But yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It's kind of, it's weird, like, people are kind of, like, on the fence with the Venom films. Like, they don't do well critically, but they make a shit ton of money at the box office. And there are a lot of fans of the character of Venom who like those movies, I think, for doing the character justice. And a lot of people just didn't like the take on Venom in Spider-Man 3. Which I can understand.
Get the oars out! Slow!
Commander's left the helm. You're released.
You know? It's like... I don't know. But then you get to... I don't know. You get to films like Morbius, where I think Sony, to a degree, knows when a film is not going to be that good. So what they... This is kind of shitty that they do this. What they do is they use the marketing and shit to lie to people about what's in the movies. And not in a good way like Marvel usually does with using alternate takes and takes that just aren't in the movie and even contradict shit that's in the movie that are made just for the trailers and whatever. Those I think are good that they do that. Keeps you guessing on what's going to actually happen. But then, you know, they actively just lied about some of the content in Morbius. Where, like, they advertised Vulture was going to be in that movie from the MCU. They had, Michael Keaton. They had him film a cameo for that movie. Apparently it's just in a post-credit scene, which is stupid. Why would you... For one, why would you lie about his, like, his involvement in that movie?
There's something floating there. We can retrieve it.
And then two, why would you leave it to just an end credits or after credits scene? Like, to me, that's fucking dumb.
Commander away. You're released until further orders.
But anyways, yeah. Then they had that one trailer that had a poster of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 suit, although it also appeared in Spider-Man 3. So the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit on a wall. And shit. Ooh, I can go here. And it was literally a screenshot taken out of the Spider-Man, or the first Insomniac Spider-Man game. And they honestly just, like, lied about a lot. For just no reason. Because they knew no one wanted the Morbius movie just by itself. They knew that, like, the movie wasn't gonna be that good. Like, genuinely. So they had to lie about the contents of the movie, and it's just like, why do you guys do that? Can you not make a better movie? Yeah, that was like, they were trying to drum up hype and shit. But, like, it was hard to believe that it was hard to believe that they were going to do some of the things that they did, and ultimately they didn't. You know?
Nice to see you, Commander.
And there's, like, shit that people would like for them to do, but I don't know if they're actually... But no one knows if they're actually... if they'd actually consider doing it. Like...
Get the oars out!
Stuff like bringing Andrew Garfield back as his Spider-Man for these standalone
Sails up! Now!
Venom or standalone villain movies, and basically set them in either set them in the Amazing Spider-Man universe, or have Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man crossover into that universe, the Sony Spider-Man universe. You know.
Ready for docking!
And it's just like, yeah, a lot of people would like Andrew Garfield back as his Peter Parker / Spider-Man. I think even Andrew Garfield would be up for it, because a lot of people do like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and especially after like, even though his first film wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad either, looking at it in retrospect. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just god-awful. Like, it's up there with Spider-Man 3. There are good things about it, but, like, ultimately, like, it suffers from a lot of the same problems as Spider-Man 3. But then also has its own unique problems as well. But yeah, and then No Way Home, like, wrapped up a lot of the dangling plot threads and shit, and everything, and actually gave Andrew Garfield a lot of moments to shine, and he put a lot into playing his version of Peter in No Way Home. He stole the show a lot of the time, if not almost did. He brought a lot to the role. It felt like he hadn't missed a beat. It felt like he hadn't been away from the role in 7 years, which was great. And yeah, and it was great the way that they did it. You could tell that the people who wrote the movie understood his version of Spider-Man, and then also just wanted to give him a little bit of what is the word I'm looking for? A little bit of a redemption of sorts, because like, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just like, you know, they had a great, it's kind of like Peter Capaldi as the Doctor in Doctor Who. You have a great actor who is capable of so much more than his scripts are giving him.
Welcome, mis tíos.
And, like, yeah, it's like this person should be getting better scripts and everything than they actually are, and it's hurting their potential and performance as a result. This is what I'm gonna say about that. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I feel bad for Andrew Garfield because like he clearly has a lot of reverence for Spider-Man in regards to the material and everything, and I can imagine he wanted to do a good job, and like he probably knew going in that his Spider-Man movies were going to be maybe unfavorably compared to the Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi movies. Because, like, a lot of people did not have a satisfying, like, thing with Spider-Man 3. I imagine that, because, like, he has said that he's been a fan of, or he's a fan of Tobey's movies and everything, the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I can just imagine he was cognizant of that when they were making those movies. I can't imagine he wouldn't have been, to at least a degree, you know, to at least a small degree. It's just, I don't know. Is there anyone here? There is no one here. But yeah. But if they could bring him back in some capacity for these villain origin movies and actually make them make sense as to why some of these villains exist. Like, Venom legit doesn't make any sense to exist without Spider-Man, as Venom is in those movies. The problem is, like, the Venom symbiote would be very different if it didn't come into contact with Spider-Man. And yet, for some reason, like, the Venom symbiote in the standalone movies that they've been making is still, like, themed after Spider-Man, even though it's never come into contact with a Spider-Man until No Way Home. And even then, it was just seeing him on TV. You know? It's just like, there are these weird, like, plot holes and logic holes and all that shit. It's just so fucking dumb, and I wish Sony would, like, just make better decisions for these movies. And the main thing about it is, I'm pretty sure that they only did that. They only did Venom the way that they did because they couldn't cross over the Venom series that they're doing with the MCU at the time. But yeah. So I really... Yeah, so it's basically gonna be... Just basically towards the end. So, I'm gonna pause here, guys, and continue in the next one.